How you doing, folks? Yeah, that is the Copeland Road stand behind me. That is the Copeland Road stand. But if I turn the camera round here, you see behind over my shoulder there the tenements, the classic kind of red sandstone. They'd probably call them brownstones in the States. Classic Glasgow tenements there, east facing on actual Copeland Road, on the actual Copeland Road, forming Copeland Road, if you like. You see the back of those tenements down there. If you're a Rangers supporter of any years at all, like me, been coming out the underground at Ibrox for decades, and you'll see the kind of sandstone, brownstone type tenements, and you'll think, God, they must have been there since God was a boy. They look so old and so kind of regal, don't they? You know, and that kind of confused image you've got of time when you're a kid as well. You think they've probably been there since the 1500s or something like that, but they're actually only as modern as Ibrox. Really, I know Ibrox has been modernised. Second Ibrox, this is second Ibrox. The first Ibrox, actually, the only reason these actually, I'm putting actuallys in here because I'm trying to blow the tits off certain visitors that we might get. You know the score, folks. God, we all know the score. We know the score, and that's going to attract certain visitors to the pod, isn't it? But if you're a regular, you know what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to inform people. That used to be the Rangers end. That would be if the set up in 1887 actually. The Celtic were just trying to get themselves together. Celtic were just being born. If the setup was the same in the days where the Ranger support, the hardcore home Ranger support would congregate on the east terracing behind the east goal, and the away support would congregate on the west terracing, well, they're that there where the tenements are, those classic behind the Copeland Road tenements. That used to be the Copeland Road. That used to be the home end of Ibrox, the first Ibrox when we first moved here. 1887, I think it was, 1887. You know, Kinning Park, we were playing there. It was at Clydesdale Cricket Club, some cricket club anyway, where our landlords, and they decided to put up their rent, and we thought, no, we're not having that, we're just going to move further. Even though this part, Ibrox at that point in time, was part of the Govan borough. That's how we got the red and black socks, I'd imagine. It wasn't actually part of Glasgow, so to speak. But we moved here, and we built ourselves a ground. But the original ground, the first Ibrox, 1887, it faced the back of it. The back of the Copeland Road was Copeland Road, actual Copeland Road, just like nominally the way the Copeland Road stand is named after the nearest street to it. It was actually on Copeland Road, the Copeland Road stand today, and we're building this baby. We're building this thing here in was it 1979, 80th season, I think it was, when we're properly clearing the three sides of Ibrox to make way for these three big goalpost stands that we've all known for the last 40 years. We had a couple of Old Firm games. We hosted Celtic twice at Hampden that season. I think it's 79-80 season. 78, maybe 78, 79 season, we hosted Celtic at Hampden. I don't know if that you could term that ground sharing when it's just two games, but I knew about that. But one thing I was saying, when we were, yes, I'm standing amongst the Portaloos. I'm actually right outside the women's Portaloos here, but that register that I'm on, for the last time I was caught standing outside the ladies' toilet, well, the last time I was caught, that's timed out now, so I probably just got an ankle bracelet, but they're all locked up, and the gents are full of bottles of Buckfast anyway, but it's a bit of privacy. I might have to go in there as this pod carries on, because it's a bit parky out here. But I was saying at the beginning of the season when we were having a few problems with our home venue at the beginning of this season, that we should try and see it as a positive, not look on the bright side, because I'm always telling folk to look on the bright side and everything's going to be okay. Why, Alec? Why do you keep that? I was saying how we should see it as something interesting in our long life, supporting Rangers. Are we breaking the routine, going to see Rangers like properly ground sharing? Was it with the SFA or Queen's Park? Because Queen's Park, they kind of make up their minds if they're at Lesser Hampden, if they're actually at Hampden now. Anyway, and I thought this, because we've never really done it properly before, but it turns out when we moved here to first Ibrox, it wasn't ready in time for the end. For the end, we get kicked out of basically Kinning Park, or we walked out of Kinning Park before the end of the 1886, 1887 season, I think it was. So we had to find somewhere else to play, and we ended up ground sharing with Third Lanark. And you're thinking, Third Lanark, New Cathkin Park, the Cathkin Park that still remains, the remains are there, the shape of it's still there, the terracing's still there, you pass by it, maybe have a pee in it on your way to Hampden, as it is now. Rangers played at the beginning of the season, and we'll be going back for the League Cup final. Just across at Branch, what's the name of that? Is it Cross Hill? The name of that, I can never get the name of that station, the one before Mount Florida when you're coming in for the town. They're just across from that station anyway, just across from the pavilion, the bowling club pavilion, which has got the mural in the back of Scotland beating England 5-1, when that was first Hampden. New Cathkin Park was actually second Hampden. And then when Queen's Park and the SFA, Queen's Park, basically when they built the current Hampden, the original one, it was like 1900s, early 1902, 1903. It was a great age of Glasgow ground building when Glasgow had the 3 biggest grounds in the world. Late 19th century into early 20th century, they started realising how much of a moneymaker this was, how much the people of Glasgow and the west of Scotland loved their football. So Queen's Park moved up there, and Third Lanark moved into New Cathkin Park. But that meant when Rangers ground shared with Third Lanark, it was the old Cathkin Park, the previous Cathkin Park, which I don't think there's any traces of just now, and I couldn't tell you where it is at all. But we have actually ground shared before, back then in the late 1870s. And we moved in here, when we moved from first Ibrox, and basically where I'm standing just now, amongst the Portaloos in the car park at the back of the present Copeland Road stand, that would be basically the Celtic end of the pitch. I'd probably, in the Celtic end goals on the pitch just now, if, as I say, the tradition was still the same in those days, where the Rangers end was, the easternmost part of the stadium. And there we end. But so get it right, Roonies. I think that the footprint of first Ibrox, the Celtic end terrace, and if you like, even though 1899 we moved out, so Celtic were well underway by that point. So the Celtic end terrace would just nick out and kind of overlap the goal line at the Copeland. I think over at the corner, the north kind of corner where the Govan and the Copeland meet, you just get a bit at the back of the terrace and of the old Celtic. It's quite a picture I'm building up. It's quite historical. It's interesting. It seems as if we talk about the reality. I'd rather talk about the past than talk about today. So that's quite interesting. What I think's also interesting, it's really interesting, is down behind us there you can see Mafeking Street. Mafeking Street, the wee street that you cut up when you come out the underground, you come out Ibrox Underground, which used to be Copeland Road. For most of its life it was Copeland, up until 1977 I think it was Copeland Road Underground, and then it changed. And so Mafeking Street, you cut up there from Copeland Road to come up to the back of the Copeland Road stand, or the kind of east end of the Govan, the Sandy Jardin as it is now. Should we just name the Copeland? Just rename the Copeland the Walter Smith stand just now. Get it done. But that wee street there, Mafeking Street, I'm assuming it was named after the relief of Mafeking. Mafeking in South Africa during the Second Boer War. There was a famous siege of Mafeking, one of the great British victories. The relief of Mafeking was the relief for the people in Mafeking who were British run. Anyway, it was mostly Brits in there. It's probably local South Africans getting killed and what have you, but it was a British owned city at that time. And the guy who founded the Scouts, what's his name again? The guy that founded the Scouts, really famous. Dodgy character as well, or he had a strange idea about children. Anyway, that was research. That came out later on. But at the time, he was a British Army general or something like that, quite a top man, and he was in charge of the British there. And it was one of the kind of victories, like Dunkirk. It wasn't really a victory; we just kind of got away with it. The Boers get bored, ironically, of. So ironically, it's just clangingly of laying siege to Mafeking, and they turned out that siege. Yeah, that siege was 1899, October 1890, May 1900, I think. And I've always thought, my whole life really, even since I was a wee kid, first coming to Ibrox 40 years ago, the first thing I thought was, I wonder if Mafeking Street is named after the relief of Mafeking, which would be May 1900. And Rangers had just moved in here. We'd just moved into second Ibrox in December 1899. And that's the other thing I was going to tell you, was we had to do that. December 1899, we moved into the new Ibrox, and I think the first game was 30th December, something like that. It was a 3-1 win over the Jambos, but we had a wee game between us decanting, as John Bennett would say, decanting the first Ibrox and entering the second Ibrox. I think it was Kilmarnock, one of the usual characters from Scottish football, one of the big names of Scottish football. I think it was Kilmarnock we were playing, and we weren't ready. We didn't have the new place ready, and we'd get out the old place. They probably started building the tenements. So we played Kilmarnock, I think it was, at Meadowside, which was Partick Thistle's former ground in Partick. When Partick Thistle won the Liars, when Partick Thistle told the truth, when they actually did play in Partick. Down where the big flats are just now. The big flats, you get the drive-through Starbucks across the road. The big flats, the big fancy flats, they look onto, they're right on the banks of the Clyde in Partick. There used to be you get the wee ferry across to Govan in the days. It's brutal. It was really interesting that we played there as well. So Rangers have done a lot more ground sharing in our history, and I really realised we'd played at Partick Thistle Ground in Meadowside against Kilmarnock. That's not really ground sharing, that was just a one-off. And I thought, Mafeking Street, well, I wonder if, because we moved here and we're supposed to be a right British club, we probably started identifying them. We're in the Highland Wolf Welders supporters club, Bonnet there, and thanks Finlay, good man, a total star of my wee pod here, Finlay, the man that got us for his absolute legend. So no, the Welders were, it was the 1920s, I think, before the boys come over from Northern Ireland, really. So I don't know if we had the pure, solid, totally pro-British identity thing going on there, but identifying with Mafeking, I think that street could only have come about, really, when we get out of First Ibrox. That's probably Mafeking Street became a street as a result of First Ibrox moving, or being, emptied and, the flats gone there and us moving to second Ibrox. It's probably at the same time because we won the league unbeaten. In fact, we won 100% record. Won all 18 of our league games in the 1898-99, and then we won the league again 1899-1900. So Mafeking Street, British triumph. Rangers were triumphing at the time. We're moving from one stadium to the other along the length of Mafeking. There's probably some sort of poetry in there if you'd. Just brutal, man. It's just can't even move the ball about. Just totally. I mean, you're moving it. It's just far too late, you know what I mean? You're just standing facing defenders going, right, no, as if it's the 1950s. I'm going to take you on now. I mean, you get fluidity, you've got to move the ball. So, yeah. Hi there, that's a phone going. Who's that on the phone? Hello, who is it? How you doing, Philippe? How you doing? It's Niels. All right, Niels, how you doing? What you up to? What you up to, Philippe? What you doing tonight, mate? I'm just watching Tintin. All right, what episode are you watching? Just the one where he goes to Scotland, actually. It's the one where he's in Scotland and, they're doing the mad accents, the mad Scottish accents. It's on the West Highlands. It's the place that's got the kind of castle out in the bay, and that's, I've seen that one before. What about yourself, Niels? What you Saturday night? You're watching Poirot, you're watching the Poirot, not a bin de Poirot. You bin Poirot, why? Sushi's accent, is it? It's Sushi's accent. It's not, I mean, he's a bit as Belgian sounding as Sacha Distel. He sounds a bit as Belgian as Napoleon Bonaparte. Well, Napoleon Bonaparte's actually mostly Italian originally. He comes out of Sardinia. Is it Cagliari? I think he come from. But let's not get pedantic here, Phil. I need to talk to you, mate. That's fine, mate. That's fine. Just come here. I'm having a couple of duvels. Just you bring out. You got the Stella. That's a bit stereotypical, Phil. You'll just bring over whatever you want. Come out the flat. No. I don't want to date like that. Mate. Oh no, right. What you having something to eat? You want to come? I mean, I've just finished some mussels and some chips. It's a bit stereotypical. There's mayonnaise, mate. Plenty of mayonnaise on them as well. A bit stereotypy there, Phil. What you having yourself? What is it you're eating then, Niels? I've just had my waffles with some ice cream. Oh, that's fine. You might have been, we'll meet on the Dobbies then. We'll meet on the Dobbies, the Garden Centre Cafe, just across from Auchenhowie next to that boozer. And we'll just you just want to start on a wee bitch and see we want to wind up Dessers again. Just get in touch with him, tell him that Belgium want to come and manage them. He's going to replace Tedesco. That he needs to go back to his. No, I don't want to do that. I'm actually going to after Ashley to come into the office. What? Sorry, Phil. Just come into the office first thing and Monday morning. Maybe make this at 9 o'clock. You're joking. Well, I just want to say, I got you that job. I basically got you that job. You're going to do to me. You're going to do to me what basically David Murray ended up kind of doing to Graham Souness. I brought you in the door, and now you're the one that stays, and I'm going to get punted. So I've got to make sure I make this job work for myself. But we can't be getting beat at him by Dundee United. But I want you to come in and one day we'll make it formal anyway. Phil, what do you mean get beat by Dundee United? We drew one each. You can beat 1-0. You can beat 1-0, do you know? No, the thing is, Phil, the day I only made it in time for the second half. I had to go and interview some folk to run the girls under 14s team, and then I had to go and get myself that transit van that I'm going to use to get the pies, because this is part of my remit. I'm going to have to get the pies at the stadium on a Saturday now as well. So I had a few things to do. I only managed to make it in time for the second half of the day, but getting beat 1-0 after D United just isn't it, and getting booed after the park at the end. I'm obviously going to have to take action here. I don't know if it's part of your remit anyway, Niels, but the thing is, we drew one each. What time? So you were late. You missed the. What time did you get there? I got there about 5 to 4, just in time for the start of the second half. I see what happened there. We actually drew it again the day, Niels, and I think Aberdeen get beat, so we've gained a point in Aberdeen. We're actually moving forward. All right, Phil. Well, sorry, we don't have to have that chat on Monday then. Maybe we'll just, I've got your number, mate. I've got your number. You have to make your own entertainment, don't you? You really have to make your own entertainment. Imagine these wee scenarios. Do you know that Madonna sings the lyric "Don't Cry for Me" in 2 different songs? She actually says that in 2 different songs. One about a South American country that you probably know off the top of your head. Another one you might have to think about a bit harder, but it's the first time ABBA gave permission for anybody to sample, I'm hung up, don't cry for me. It's a cracking song. And De Niro, in 2 different films, uses the line "City of Lights." City of Lights. He says it twice in 2 different films. He says it in Heat. But he's playing. Neil goes back to, he first meets Amy. They have the greatest meet cute in movie history, and Amy Brenneman, it's Edie she's called in the film, and they go back to her place and they're standing out in the balcony of her wee flat, looking over LA, and he says, "Oh man, it's like in Fiji they have these iridescent algae. When you pass over it in a plane, that's what it looks like out there. City lights. He's talking about LA, and then he does it in one of the film adaptations of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, the one with Gwyneth Paltrow, and he's playing the guy, the wee boy. At the beginning, he's the scary escaped prisoner, and he's gives him a hard time, but he backs him up for the rest of his life. And it's Paris. He's talking about Paris in that one. Maybe De Niro just says "City of Lights" all the time. Maybe it's a tick. Maybe he wakes up in the morning going "City of Lights, City of Lights," and that's him 24 hours a day. And it's just various directors and scriptwriters have had to incorporate it into his films. Maybe he said it in all his films, and I've just no noticed. But he's. Madonna's used the same lyric in 2 different songs, and De Niro has used the same line in 2 different films. And I saw Dundee United in my 2 first League Cup finals. The first 2 League Cup finals I went to. I know we played Celtic in 2 different League Cup finals in between times, but I wasn't allowed until I was like 14 to go to Old Firm games. I think by allowed, really, my aunt and uncle could be bothered taking me to Old Firm games because they were too busy getting bevied and probably being really sectarian and stuff like that. And they did enough to worry about going to these games back then without taking their really anal, retentive, boring, interested in street signs and 19th century wars nephew with them. But first 2 League Cup finals I went to, Rangers beat Dundee United in both of them by a single goal. The winning goal in both those finals scored by a guy called Ian, who had previously played for Dundee and then would latterly go on to play for Dundee United, and both those Ians would score the only goal of a European semi-final against Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Bokelberg for Dundee United to put Dundee United in the first ever European final. Ian Redford and Ian Ferguson. And it's you got to make this. That should be us. That should be us. How you doing, folks? This is your Fat Ache post. Rangers have just given up their 100% home domestic records to the only team we've beaten away domestically this season. Reaction Pod coming to you in association with Jersnet. Check out Jersnet tomorrow night if you really have to. I mean, Scott Bradley's going to be hosting it, so that'll be good. Ross Bennett's going to be one of his guests. That'll be fantastic. But the other guest is just this fat, specky, baldy, boring, thinks he's left wing, but it's only the Overton window that makes him, the moving of the Overton window that makes him seen in any way left wing or woke. Anyway, but it's a total. And the last time he was on, he was accusing everybody that didn't like James Tavernier of being racist. So if you don't want to boycott that the same way I'm going to boycott it, that's up to you. But that's 9:30 tomorrow. Back to the usual Sunday night slot for Jersnet. I'm sponsored by that, and I'm also sponsored by a big book of statistics, records, a big book of because I think we should get all the records, all the stuff, interesting trivia about who's done the most of something, or who's done something the fastest, who's done something the quickest, who's done something the longest. We should get it onto a big, lots of pages in a book to make it easy to access, and get it sponsored by some sort of kind of treacly tasting drink that needs to settle. But I'm particularly sponsored by the section on how many different kick-off times a team has had at home in any one season. I'm just like, this season, this week, as I say, it's been really sunny all week, despite the fact it's been freezing, and you're thinking, oh my God, and this week we get Dundee United at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Dundee United at 3 o'clock on a Saturday at Ibrox. Absolutely classic. I mean, what are we going to do after that? Probably go and get some ice cream at Nardini's in the way to, Blockbuster Video to pick up a Police Academy movie, and maybe go to, the skating at Magnum Leisure Centre, the ice skating, and then, white picket fence and bobby socks and, conscription and the death penalty. And it's traditional. It's really, really traditional. It's heartening. It's the kind. And no, we couldn't make that happen either. We couldn't make it happen. My name's Alec Anderson, I've got a little money in a takeaway curry. I'm on the way home to my wife. She'll be lining up the cutlery. She's expecting me polishing the glasses and pulling out the cork. But it's my wife we're talking about, for fuck's. Not just pulling the cork out the wine there, so we can have the wine, and I'm going to have to make it even quicker to get him now, because I'm not going down in the tube station at midday. No, I should have been down the tube station at midday, but I hung about because we got the new motor. I got the new motor last Saturday. I was telling you that in the preview pod last night. It's on 25 minutes, that preview pod. I'm backing this manager and saying how it's all right. And it's great record at home. Don't concede goals at home, really. 100% record at home domestically. Back this manager. Get behind him. We've had 2 weeks off. We're going to come flying out of traps more and blow the deep. There's no European hangover for this game. We're going to blow them away. So I was a bit tired and what have you doing. It's been a long week, done a lot of stuff I don't want to go into any detail about, because I wouldn't want to bore you in one of these pods with a lot of personal stuff. I want to get straight to the point with the Fitbit, as always. And I'll just hang about. And I saw the snow was there and that, but it started to melt a bit. And we've got the brand new. I thought, I don't want to risk the motor in the hill at the end of your street. Basically the road at the end of your street was shut off. So I had to go the back way. But I just hung about, and I was getting a lot of food on board. And I thought, no, I'll just take the motor, because by the time the game's finished, and I'll just want to get straight on the road a bit quicker. I should have been down the underground. But the underground, you go. Anyway, I like the underground. The underground's quite good. It's nice. It's a good build up to the game. And I go down to the underground, and it's absolutely rammed by the time it gets to Partick, and it builds up the atmosphere. You feel quite cosy and intimate with everybody. The Rangers family, and sometimes you need actual family planning, because there's so much closeness going on with the underground jiggling about there. It's all in the family, the Rangers way on the old Dundee. But I thought, no, I want to take the motor. I can't be arsed with having to walk all the way back up the road from the underground to the house afterwards. So I was lazy, and it was dangerous, and it was a difficult drive here. The motor was sloshing. I'm not going to ruin the new car, like it's barely a week old. I managed to get it parked quite near Clement Road. So that was fine. I just walked along the road, thinking about that film, Under the Skin, the Jonathan Glazer film, where, it's a very famous Scarlett Johansson actress is driving a transit van along through the Rangers support. It's absolutely, you should check it out. Under the Skin. It's an amazing film, a fantastic film. But she's driving a transit van along Copeland Road. She goes down Edmiston Drive as well, and what's the other street after it? And she picks up a guy in a Hibs top and murders him. So it's a good film. It's a really good film. But I was thinking about that as I was coming along here, and I thought, it's a bit, this not as busy as I thought it was going to be. I'm getting along here quite sharp style, and I noticed there was hundreds of folk. It's still in Edmiston House, new Edmiston House, and I thought, they're cutting that bit fine, and it's the cup of tea brigade. I'm up in the balcony, they're all having their cappuccinos and what have you. I thought, that'll kick off in 10 minutes time. That's fair dues. And I walk in, the steward, there's no queue at all. I thought there was going to be a queue outside, no queue at all to get in. And the steward never said anything to me. I was just, how you doing? Oh, it's freezing, isn't it? And, yeah. You can say something to me right there, pal. You can say something to me, about kick-off and what have you. And I go inside, and it's like, this is deserted. I can't hear any noise coming from the stadium. And I go up and I go towards my seat. There's about 2 folk in the whole of the main stand. And it's basically 7 minutes to 3. What is going on here? How bad are the roads for other parts of the west of Scotland, the east of Scotland, the north of Scotland, the south of Scotland, where the hordes come from to Ibrox? And I thought, apart from anything else, I'm going to check out the pie queues. Because and it's up there that I realised, it's like, this is a delayed kick-off, isn't it? I don't know how. I kept checking my phone all morning to make sure the game wasn't off. I wasn't expecting delayed kick-off though, was I? So that was me. I had plenty of time. And I thought that maybe the game's not going to go ahead at all. Something to delay it for 45 minutes, maybe it won't happen at all. And as I just panic, and the first thing you should do in these situations, when there is a crisis, is eat all the supplies. The guy that goes out in the jungle and tells you the survival stuff, which is the kind of fat posh guy. What is his name again? He tells you that you're supposed to. That's the first. If you're on a plane crash, eat all the food straight away, so you've got energy to cope with the food. You get the food for the supplies, the stuff they bring in on the plane. If there's any supplies at all, you get that eaten, so you've got the energy to deal with the rest of the crisis. So any time there's a crisis, the first thing I do is I cleared out the steak pies and the pies. I'm sitting the lassie behind the counter, so it's freezing it, but it's deserted. It's really easy to get served. There's nobody at the pie. I don't think in all the times I've been at Ibrox in the last 40 years, I've ever just walked up to the pie stand for a regular season game and just cruise straight. Didn't even have to go, the barriers, the cross barrier things. Didn't have to deal with that. I just walked straight up. They're not dying to serve you, because they're bored at their skull. And so she never said anything either. Fuck, just letting me down. So I'm having and I realised it was 3/4 an hour had been delayed, and I ended up having. I'll be honest with you, I had a wee bit of chocolate with a whisper. I had a whisper on me as well, which I'd stolen from my school teacher. Somebody who actually works for a living. I had that with me, and I had to go back. So I had the bovril with the pie, and I had to go back. I don't want to talk about the game. So I realised it was delayed kick-off, and by the time the team actually came, it was 5-4. It was 5. I might even be like, why no, Rangers? Why not just wait until it's like 3:57 before the game actually kicks off? A few more folk had arrived. A few more folk had got into the ground by that time when the game kicked off. And it's the weirdest of all. That we've had the 5:30 Saturday night, 6 o'clock Saturday night. Was it 6 o'clock on a Sunday night? 8 o'clock on a Sunday night? It just seems to be Ibrox especially. The Thursday night Europa League, that's starting to become normal. Again, on a Thursday night at Ibrox, but it's the weirdest amount of kick-off. We thought we were going to get 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Talk about the game. The team. I just caught the team. I didn't even bother checking up the team when I was standing there having my pies and having my cups of tea, because I'd got the first pie in with the bovril, and it's a bit salty. When it's cold, you don't drink as much water because the water's cold. And I'm going to do the old man thing that I was doing at Hampden the other week, where I get a pint of water. And I thought, a pint of tap water, I don't want to pay for it, But you still feel a bit stingy, so you end up getting a cup of tea, which is like £3 to go with it. But I had the whisper, so it's actually working out quite well. You want a wee cup of tea to go with a whisper, you don't just want chocolate and water. And a Paris bun and I heard the team anyway, and the big news there was Tav was on the bench. Tav wasn't starting, so that's a big thing for Tav. There's been 2 weeks off. He's not away in international duty. So the idea, that the last hope that I was harbouring was that Tav was just getting over still, because he's a bit older, getting over this wee operation, the wee thing he had at the beginning of the season. And maybe another 2-week break, he'll be back, bang, in the team, ready to go, especially with Cass and Virgil being out the game altogether, probably for the rest of the season. No, Tav is on the bench, big statement. Dujon Sterling starts. Dujon Sterling, who can barely play a whole game for us, he starts today. Robin Proper was back at centre-half. I felt for Balogun with that one. I thought Balogun would have been in alongside Suter, but Robin Proper was back at centre-half. And Yilmaz was on the bench, but he wasn't starting today. That was another one you're looking out for, after the manager saying yesterday that Yilmaz played a half in that behind closed doors friendly we had for the guys who weren't away in international duty last week. Well, he played a half today as well. I don't know if it's the first half or the second half. He played at Auchenhowie, but he played the second half at Ibrox today. But it was Hefty who started the game. Didn't play the second half. He came on during the second half. And we had the great white hope that is Nico Raskin and the one and only Connor Barron in the kind of nominal sitting 2 in midfield, although Raskin is more of a 6 and Connor Barron's pushing forward more as an 8. It was Diamandi in there at 10, which meant, yes, Bajrami was out wide left, and we had Cherny wide right, and the one and only Cyril Dessers up front. So that was your team there, and it was just pallid. It was just never got going. It was 6 minutes before we had a shot on goal. Really tame effort from Cherny. We've got, Bajrami's obvious skill sets and bit lack of pace, and Hefty's obvious pace, but lack of. He's good at crossing the ball for deep. We saw that in Poland, making one against Dynamo Kiev. I'm just really stretching this. I'm trying to talk about everything other than what actually happened. They were between them. They're a kind of pastiche of one good wide left player, a kind of facsimile, should I say, of one good wide left player. But that was kind of all right. It was so one-paced. It was so kind of. I'm just sitting there. I was literally. I'm not joking you. I had 2 main thoughts. I'm not joking you. That's why would I be joking you? I don't know why I say these things. It's just cold and I'm bored and I'm depressed. I was sitting there. 2 main thoughts during that first half. The first one was Dundee United strip. They're wearing the white away strip. Just wear your orange. It's great. A great clash. Rangers, Dundee United in their home kit. And I don't know if they're still doing that thing where they're all orange. I like Dundee United when they did especially the kind of late 70s, early 80s. It was basically the Dutch, the best Dutch strip of the 74 World Cup and the 70. I think the one they played the 78 World Cup final in, where it's just orange black shorts, orange socks, but with the black Adidas trim or the orange Adidas trim on the black shorts. Just wear that. That's a classic kit. It looks really good. It was actually Walter Smith. I think he signed for Dundee United. Was it 66, 67 season for I'm so cold. I'm actually starting to. I'm losing nouns. I don't know. A team I've seen many a time. But it's the record crowd for a junior game. Them against Saracen Park. The team that play at Saracen Park. The juniors that play at Saracen Park. Oh my God, that is absolutely frightening. The record crowd for a junior fixture at a juniors ground. No at Hampden, no for the Junior Cup final, is between amazingly. I mean, Walter Smith played for them. How can I forget their name? I've seen them home and away. I've seen them plenty of times in my times watching football matches. But anyway, Walter Smith signed for Dundee United for that junior team, 66, 67-ish, which is the season. I think it was at the time Dundee United beat Barcelona home and away, their first European game ever in the entire history of Jerry Kerr. But I think they were still wearing the white kit then, because was it that summer, the following summer, that they went to Dallas and became Dallas Tornado in the kind of the American Soccer League or whatever it was, one of the forerunners of the MLS. MLS, there's no definite article. It's Major League Soccer, not the Major League Soccer. The NASL later in the 70s. But anyway, that's when United they changed this kind of orangey thing to become Dallas Tornado. Walter Smith was one of the. I thought it's quite good. Walter Smith being assistant manager when they won the league for the first time, and playing the two times they won their first trophies, the League Cups, and the 79-80 and 80-81, and I see them at the end of that run where they lose their third straight League Cup final, and it's us that beat them, stop them winning 3 in a row. And Walter Smith eventually comes to Rangers, and I just was thinking about him today, and I was thinking about United's kit, and I'm thinking it's a bit pale, but there's something about the white with orange, But I think the Netherlands '74, that effective World Cup semi-final against Brazil. It was a second round group thing, but it was effectively a kind of tacit semi-final against Brazil, the holders in the Westfalen. Really violent game. But I thought, well, that was actually really good. I think they were wearing the orange socks, but it was the white top and the white shorts combo with. I don't think the Dutch wore the same kit for any two games. It's all combinations of the same thing throughout that '74 World Cup when they were at their absolute peak of total football. But they scored in the captain's armbands on Johan Cruyff when he slides that one. Oh, what a goal it is. What a goal, the ball to Nieskens, and just absolutely brilliant in the old Westfalen there. I think that's a good combination of white with orange. But United did a really pallid one, and the whole game was pallid. And I was losing concentration as to what was actually happening in the park. It was making me go to sleep, and the idea that Rangers were going to come firing out the traps was dead and buried by about the 15th minute or something. Wasn't going to happen. It was going to be a slog. United just sitting in, trying to catch us in the break. And the other main thought I had was, I'm going to go up the road and just watch some Nicholas Winding Refn film tonight. I just need to watch somebody getting a tiny wee, arrowhead and cutting open somebody's gut and pulling out their intestines and slamming it on the deck. Somebody, a local policeman, just cutting off folks' arms, at their forearms, cutting off their hands at the forearm, just to punish them for letting the family of a murder victim's family get a hold of the murderer and beat him to death. That kind of thing. I just wanted something definite, something stabby, something really just decisive to happen, because I've no bloody seen it domestically at Ibrox. Hardly any games this season at all. And this was another one today. I just found myself getting a bit of bloodlust because of the lack of bloodlust that seemed to be coruscating not through this Rangers team. It was terrible. Just this post-match reaction pod's terrible as well, because I'm getting kind of sick of it. I spent an hour and 25 minutes last night defending this manager, and I still basically feel the same way. But it's my wee thing was talking about how people are panicking because Aberdeen are doing so well this season, and they're saying that there's no way we can finish third. Rangers can't finish third. We can't finish behind Aberdeen. I was saying, people are very good at talking in the abstract, the theory of finishing behind Aberdeen. Meet the reality. Where Aberdeen are just playing really well, and we shouldn't get too panicky. But it's me. I'm talking about how Philip Clement's going to improve us, and we're going to get there eventually. Philip Clement's just laying down a blueprint just now. He's going to shade in but it's a preliminary draw, and eventually we're going to get the details in there. It's going to be a cracking portrait, all this kind of stuff. It's me. And the actual reality, it's me that's been seeing it in the abstract. It's me that's talking in theoretical terms. And all the wee bits of snow that were parked about the park, beautiful to get Ibrox ready today, to get it ready for this. A great stadium we've got there. The grass is gleaming, and there's wee tiny bits of snow around the side of the park, and I felt as if somebody had grabbed a big pile of that snow and shoved it down the front of my brakes to say, "Wake up! This is pish!" And we were absolutely pish. It was just so flaccid. It was just so absolutely flaccid. Nothing was happening at all. And Dundee United, I think it was Dundee United's second attack of the game. It's a wee guy with a... See, something decisive. The guy in the wee sweeper lorry, he knows what he's doing. He's got a passion for it. He gets the job done. I think United's second attack of the game, they just lobbed the ball just right towards the centre of our box. Basically right down this big massive corridor that our centre halves seem to create. John Suter and Robin Proper, and they just walked the ball into the back of the net. An absolute embarrassment of a goal. We've got nothing coming from Diamandi and Dessers, and I couldn't make up my mind if that's because we weren't getting the service. We were just fanning about on the wings without really doing anything with it. It's just like the ball's going out to the wing. That's where all Rangers attacks go to die. But then we go into the centre. Anytime we get flashed across the middle of the box, well, Barron's too far back, Raskin's certainly too far back, and Diamandi and Dessers just didn't seem to be doing anything at all. I think Diamandi's getting played out of position. I don't know if it's the players around him. He's played at that 10 position before. He scored both times. We did it last season, just after the turn of the year when he first arrived at the club against St Johnstone at McDermott, against Hearts at Ibrox in a 5-0 win. But it just wasn't happening at all. We don't have anything happening in the centre. We're bad in the centre of both boxes, and that's pretty damn bad. Under Michael Beale, we just couldn't do it. We couldn't score. We couldn't attack. And we couldn't defend. So we've narrowed it down to being really bad in the centre of both boxes, but it still leads to major problems. And United just walked the ball into the back of the net. The guy headed it in, but it was just a simple ball. I don't know if it's Proper. I don't know if it's Suter. Everybody's blaming Proper because he's been ragdolled by St Mirren at Ibrox, so we're watching out for him now. But for most of the game, to be honest with you, it was a kind of United were doing so little. There was no physical battle going on, even though they've got big guys up front. There was no physical battle going on at the back. This idea that Proper's better and I'm working a footballing game, he doesn't like the physical battle. Well, there wasn't a physical battle. United, I think, had one shot on target today, and they scored from it. We had 9 or 10. About 30 shots on goal, all in, and 9 or 10 on target, and we eventually only scored for one. There was changes at half time, and you're worrying, is the manager not going to make any changes because being booed down the tunnel sometimes makes you think, no, I'll stick by the team here. But sure enough, we came out and Hadji was in at 10, Diamandi was off, and we had Danilo coming on, and Dessers was off. So it wasn't the service for the wings. The manager did think it was the guys who were in the centre of the box, the centre of the opposing box, that were to blame. And we did. United had another wee chance to flash past the post, but we did step it up a gear, and it's that. Not buckle me in for a second half, just to kind of get me a blanket and some soup for the war of attrition that's inevitable here. Rangers have upped it just enough to make Dundee United dig in even deeper. They're doing a lot of time wasting as well. Jim Goodwin quite happy to get involved, kicking balls onto the park. But to be honest, so there's 2 balls on the park, and I think, I was just trying to pass that ball back. But to be honest, our ball boys now we're getting it wrong all the time as well, constantly throwing balls in the park. The United players were doing the thing of just hitting the deck and sitting down anytime we had a bit of pressure, and any pressure that we did have. And we've set ourselves up for that, though. We've opened ourselves up to that. Any pressure we did have was coming through. I would say it's not really a day for a man of the match, but Cherny got it from the sponsors, and they got it about 7 minutes before the end of the game. So the sponsors obviously had enough with the delay to kick off and what they were watching. So they wanted to get up the road early. But he probably deserved it. But Raskin and Barron are in the walls and they're trying their hearts out. They did really. I don't think you're blaming them for what happened today, any of those 3 players. But it turns out it's Cherny who gets the goal. Hadji starting to flash some much better balls into the box. But it's a game like this that we're basically camped outside the opposition box. United show no attacking intent whatsoever, no ability to get outside their box. We've just basically got the 2 centre halves with Nico Raskin sitting in between them. And maybe that was a kind of a staunch moment, a defensive, I'm going to stick one of my plans thing from the manager, and the fact that he kept Proper on at half time because the crowd were getting on his back. I need to see the United goal back. I don't know who in particular is to blame for it. Jack Butland, captain today, he couldn't even throw the ball out properly and quickly enough to Cherny at one point in the first half. This was early on. He's kind of apologising and giving it, oh God, I'm so sorry, that's not my standards kind of thing. I'm going to need to get rid of Jack Butland. I don't get on the back of Rangers players. Jack Butland has done something wrong. He has done something wrong, and if you can work out what that is, it's a football thing. And it's when he was at Rangers. You can tell. If you can tell me, you'll win a big prize from. I'll send you one of my books. You can tell me what the thing is that Jack Butland has done to get my nerves, apart from just behave like a bit of a douche. Did you see the thing? The behind the scenes video on the Rangers TV for the publicity shots for the Heritage Ibrox 125 year commemorative kit, and then they bring out a behind the scenes the making of video about that. And they're all walking down the stairs, and they're Tavernier and that are involved. They're Bajrami, they're pulling funny faces and all that kind of behind the scenes, the blooper and that kind of thing. Butland walks down the stairs and just goes, "Hi, yeah, right, let's do this." What a douche. There's a personal thing there. There's a total personal thing, but. If you can work out the football thing that Jack Butland did, it really it set me against him. Then let me. It's quite a staunch thing, actually. You think I'm a kind of woke lefty. I'm certainly not a Scottish nationalist or anything like that. But if you can work out what it is, I'll send you a wee prize. Let me know. But this wasn't going well. But we stepped it up a gear because United can't get out their box. It's quite good for Hadji. He can then be the lockpick. The safe cracker. I'm going to persist with me being the person that invents that nickname for him until the actual official end of Yanis Hadji's Ibrox career. He can stand about the edge of the box, no having to do any running back and like that, just been given the ball regularly, and he can play in some lovely wee balls into the box. Czerny was a few times that he looked like he was going to take off into a different level of dribbling, but it's basically a 1-2 with Danilo. A lovely 1-2 between Czerny and Danilo, puts Czerny through. He slots away the equaliser, 66, 67 minutes. Walter Smith there, signing for Dundee United. And you're thinking we've got plenty of time to get that extra goal. Plugged away. It wasn't really happening. United keeper had a couple of decent saves, one in the last 98th minutes, because we got 8 minutes of injury time, so we can't complain about that either. We had the ball in the net towards the end of the first half. But I saw Conor Barron handling it at the edge of the box before the ball even got in the net, and I get no way excited about that. So I feel as if that was correctly ruled out. VAR took a wee while to decide that. VAR took a long while to decide if United's goal wasn't offside. I thought the guy was slightly offside, but I mean, I've no clue. I don't mean like I'm look at the size of these specs; they're that big for a reason. I just instinctively thought it was offside, but I knew Rangers were looking terrible anyway. But when it took longer and longer to make a decision, you thought, no, this is going to be onside. No conspiracies. I'll take that. I'll take that at the video assistant referee's word. And we had the ball in the net. There's something else. It was an appeal for a penalty after the kind of a scrambled save between the United defence and the goalkeeper, when it looked like it would be easier for us to knock it over the line. That didn't last very long. That was ruled no penalty as soon as there was a hint of it being a penalty. That was it. It was a terrible performance, really, from Rangers. They definitely upped it in the second half. Who knows? As I'm speaking to you, Hearts might be pumping Celtic at Tynecastle, and that would mean with Aberdeen getting beat, we've reversed what happened when Celtic and Aberdeen drew early doors on a Saturday at Parkhead. So we're bound to gain ground on them the next day. We lost at Kilmarnock and actually lost ground on both of them. Maybe we'll have our worst domestic home result of the season. We'll end up gaining a point on both of them, but it should have been 3 points that we're gaining on Aberdeen at least. I don't think it's bad enough, disastrous enough for heads to roll, but the concern for me is, as I say, I thought we're having the 2 weeks off. I know I'll be players like Czerny was one of those players. Bajrami gets taken off. He gets taken off for Igaman eventually with about 10 minutes to go. And that's how knackered he was. He's been away with Albania. It's the international players that we're still relying on. Other substitution, as I say, Yilmaz He come on just as soon as we scored the goal. He came on at that point in time, so off goes Hefty, who's been running himself into the ground. But we've had 2 weeks off. We should have been going out there and just working ourselves into a frenzy of this, facing up to really enjoying, savouring this heavy programme we've got. I say we don't get a midweek off until after the League Cup final. There's going to be a lot to chat about. I'm going to go back to having a conversation about the manager's future, and I spent, I know I'm 25 minutes last night explaining why that's ridiculous. It doesn't really matter what we do this season. The manager should definitely be there for the long term. But he's basically spent just 5 minutes longer, an hour and 30 minutes today, showing me why maybe somebody else could come in and do something different. I don't know. I don't think we're at that stage. I think there's a lot more things to discuss. But I have taken up more than enough of your time, folks. That's nearly 3/4 of an hour today. It's just taking us up to how long the game was officially delayed today. Try to salvage your Saturday night, folks. Say join us on Gersnet tomorrow night at 9:30. we'll try and polish this turds a bit more effectively than I'm managing just now. A bit more perspective, perhaps by tomorrow night. But yeah, the whole thing I'm talking about when Neil and Heat, the film Heat, when Neil takes Edie onto their balcony and he's talking about the city of lights. Well, later on they're inside their flat. Later on in that film, and it's daytime. Harsh daylight, and she's in a full mood sitting at a wee table looking out over the city of blinding light now, where she's found out that Neil isn't a salesman. He doesn't work in metals. He works in murdering people to rob their money. And she's, because it's been all over the news, and he's saying to her, things will be better. Things will be better. No, because he's taking her to New Zealand. She didn't. She just thought he was going to move to New Zealand. They were going to move to New Zealand together, and he was going to set up a studio for her because he's just that kind of guy. He's going to do that anyway, but it's just they'll officially be on the run because he's a murdering bank robber. But he's saying it will be different. He's trying to reassure her. No, things are horrible just now, but things will be okay. I feel as if I'm having to do that an awful lot this season, particularly after domestic performances. I just hope comes a point where I don't have to. Thanks for your time, folks. Talk to you again soon.